Alrighty, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Um, this will be the first episode titled Ghost Mode and Intentionality. Down below in the description, I'm going to leave some video references of videos that I watched this week and or digested, which helped me build the structure of this video today. First, I want to start off with a scripture. Proverbs 4:25 says, "Look straight ahead and fix your eyes on what lies before you." And the word of the day is discretion. Being quiet or careful in what you say or do. I hope y'all enjoy what I have to put forth today. And come take a trip with your boy Willis. The first thing we're going to talk about today is ghost mode. And again, as I said before, this is basically a journal of how, not this week, but how last week went for me. My mental state and the things that I was thinking about and that was on my heart. So, start off, I realized that I've been wanting to disappear recently. And not in a sad way, but in a sense of simply being isolated from the people I'm around. And I just want to be able to focus on my goals that I want to complete and focus on my feelings. And in all reality, I just want silence. And that doesn't have to be in the physical sense. Silence mentally. And with that, I also realized that I don't want to have to feel like that I owe people my feelings, my time, my emotions. I want to be able to choose when I want to hang out with the people I hang around with. To explain my situation a little bit so that makes more sense. I'm in the Army and I also live in the barracks. And with that, the people that I wake up and see for PT, that I go to work with, that I drive home with, that I go to the same living area with, I see these people all the time. So some days this could be from 5 in the morning, of course with some breaks, from 5 in the morning until 6 p.m. and I'm with those people the entire time. And considering that I'm also in a relationship, this could also mean that I 24/7, some days, I'm always with someone in a physical sense that I see every single day. And that's, it's not a knock on them. It's not a bad thing. But I think it kind of builds an unrealistic expectation of always having someone there. And that's something I dealt with a lot when I first got into the military. I've been in for 5 years now. But that's something I dealt with a lot when I first got in the military. With the new shock of, before I joined, I wasn't alone physically, but I was alone mentally. Back at home, I used to get put on punishment all the time, all the way up until I joined the military. And reason doesn't really matter, but with that, I've had a lot of time by myself, a lot of time in my thoughts. And when you go from that to joining the military, And you can literally have the first year or two of being in the military not being by yourself. It kind of makes it hard to detach from people, and it starts to make you feel that that life without people is just not a reality. That's not the way I really want to put that. Life without people, it just doesn't seem real, I guess. So those times when you finally do get to be alone. So for instance, you're in basic training for 3 months. For some people longer, and you're with someone when you wake up, you go to sleep, all throughout the day, and that's base 3 months. And then for my AIT or advanced training, that was for a year. So now that's a year and 3 months. And then when you first get to a unit, you want to meet new people. You want to experience relationship, friendship, and also since you're brand new to the Army thing, you're looking for advice. So you're always searching for a connection with somebody. And for some people, they could have the experience that I'm desiring, of which you can be alone or you just are alone. But for me, I got to the unit I was at. People already knew were there, which was cool at first. People already knew was at the unit that I'm currently in, or is at the unit that I'm currently in, and I'm hanging out with them all the time. And basically, as I was saying, for the first 2 years of me being in the military, I was always around somebody. And that sounds nice at first, but when you're always around people, it's hard to actually focus. Specifically in situations where you are around people who don't have the same mindset as you. And that is highly likely. Everybody's goal in the military, or really in any organization, everyone's goal is not the same. We can all have the same unified goal, but each individual or each person's personal goals aren't the same. And it's a community that you're kind of thrusted into. It's not of your choosing necessarily. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. But yeah, essentially I just wanted to get to a place in my life where I choose to be around people and not forced to. And this is what we call ghost mode, or as the world knows, ghost mode. And in my situation, it's a concept that's hard to believe, or it's a concept that's hard to truly achieve, because of what I previously stated. I'm never truly away from the people that I see every single day. And part of that's my fault, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But now, I've grown since I first got here at my unit, and now there's nothing more I desire more than silence. Since being here, I realized I'm truly the happiest when I'm alone. And that could just be because I was forced to be alone a lot when I was younger. I've just grown comfortable with it, and now it's my safe space. And when you're not able to be in your safe space, or not be in your safe space as much as you would like to, life feels a lot more harder than it actually is. Um, and I just realized I'll work best in silence and when I'm by myself. For instance, whenever I go on TDY, say I go to Kentucky, and hypothetically I'm stationed in Texas. So I go to Kentucky, somewhere foreign to me. I only make base level connections in the sense of I know your name, I know your phone number. If I ever need you or you need me, we can make that happen. But otherwise, I'm not trying to talk to you at all. That sounds bad, but hey, game's the game. Either way, say I go to Kentucky, and I'm supposed to be there for the next 3 months. I, again, outside of base connection, won't talk to anybody at all. And for me, I get in bed rested or happy. I wake up rested. The sun's shining beautifully. The sky is colorful. And life's not gray. And I think it's because no one's dependent on me and I'm not dependent on anybody else, I'm able to truly focus on what I have set. I actually went on TDY to Kentucky, and my goal there was to do better with fitness and to complete my correspondence courses, which is essentially just online training. And that's the furthest I ever gotten in a 3-month span for correspondence courses, and also for working out. The most consistent, the most healthiest, least amount of pain I've had while working out. And I was doing a lot during that time. I'd get off of work, I'd go work out, weightlifting. I'd go shoot around playing basketball. After that, I'll come back to the barracks. I'll go play volleyball until like 8 p.m. And I essentially would every day do stuff from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. That's 6 hours of quote unquote training that I'm doing. And that's the best I felt regardless of that being a long period of time. And I don't know, I've experienced ghost mode in a very small sense. And I feel like it's truly been a blessing, and I want to experience that more. But when I'm around, but when I'm back at my home spot, home base, there are times where I just simply don't want to talk. I'm a little bit too tired today. I just don't want to have conversation. As I grow older, I get more introverted. I just want to be left alone. And unfortunately, I grew up with the people-pleasing complex like a lot of people do. And even though I desire to be alone, I still find myself trying to fulfill other people's social needs, even though that's the exact opposite of my needs and wants. So I'm an example of a situation that I do experience quite often where I work. I'm tired today, and I just want to be by myself. And I've isolated myself and let everybody know that, hey, I just want to focus on this. I just want to be left alone. And also at this point, all the people that I'm working with, we worked together for, 5 years, 4 or 5 years or so. And I would hope if you work for that long together with people that they would know when you, when you're in certain moods, when you want to be left alone, and vice versa. Like, you've had this much time with each other and you've talked to each other for so much. How do you not understand how some people work? Anyways. But yeah, essentially I'm just not in the mood. I let everybody know I'm not in that mood. People come to talk to me, I don't necessarily respond at all, really. And I used to. I used to give that energy, but I realized that some people just do not care for your needs and desires, especially so if it goes against their needs and desires. Anyways, back to my example. So I'm just not in the mood. I don't want to speak, and there's just sometimes when I get in the mood where it physically hurts to speak. Like, I want to form words and I just can't because I'm just so not in the mood to socialize. And I don't know how to really explain that better, but I realize that in those scenarios, people will still come and demand my attention despite everything I said before. I've let people know that I don't want to talk. I've isolated myself from the group. And I feel like there's nothing more you could really do, and they still come to you demanding your attention. It's different if you have something you need done for work. At the end of the day, I'm at work in this scenario. So if you need something for work, cool, I get it. But if it's not important, if it's not something that's truly necessary for that moment, let me be, right? Because that's what I asked for. Anyways, and I know my actions aren't truly the nicest thing. It's like, for instance, if someone were to come up to me and I'm not in these moods, and I'm on the computer like this, or I have a computer in front of me, I'm on my computer like this, and they'll come to my side and they'll be talking to me, I won't lift my head. I won't show any gesture that I'm paying attention to what they're saying. And they still will just be talking to the side of my face. The words are just coming out of their mouth, slapping me against the cheek. And just rolling off, and they still will talk. And it gets to the point where eventually the conversation will require a response from me. And I just don't respond. Some people get hurt by that. And now it feels like I'm the crazy person in this scenario. I brought up the people pleasing thing before because in the past, despite my efforts to let people know I want to be alone, people would come demanding my attention, and I would give it to them. And that's not fair to me, because if every time you want my attention and I give it to you every single time, when is there going to be time, like, when are you going to respect my wishes? If every single time I respect your wishes, when are you going to respect mine? It's not an even trade-off. I'm the only one suffering in this scenario. And it's unfair. And I generally don't think people care that much about you as a person if they can't understand that concept. If it's something you've asked for and you've known me for a really long time, so it's not like I'm asking you this for the first time. But I've asked this multiple times. You still do it, and you still do it, you still do it. You gotta start talking about respect now. This situation is a good example for, as I was saying, respect, because everyone is not going to respect your wishes and standards that you set for yourself. They will hype you up and applaud you when you bring these goals, standards, and things up. But when it comes time for those actual goals and standards to be actualized, you actually decide to put in work to accomplish those goals. if it doesn't align with the timing that they want, the wishes they desire, the needs they want to be met, it becomes a problem out of nowhere. Which is why people can recognize what you want, what you need. Do they respect those things is a different story. And I think that's why ghost mode is so important. Because during ghost mode, you start to move at your own rhythm and cadence. You recognize that everybody's not going to want for you what you want for you. And with that realization, there is a certain level of cutthroat that you become. And that doesn't mean to be rude. That doesn't mean to be disrespectful. But if I previously stated, I want to be alone, and you want to do something, I'm going to stick to my guns because I said I want to be alone. And there's a reason for that. People don't like that. So I'm not going to say ghost mode's the most, it's not the eighth wonder of the world. It has its pros and cons. And the cons are mainly, you have to, the people that you either try to ignore the fact that they aren't truly a friend to you. B, you're going to start losing some friendships. Is there even a C? I don't think there is. Basically, the people that are friends, or the people that you considered friends, it's going to test those friendships. It really is. Because if someone can truly respect what you want to do for yourself, genuinely applaud you, actually be happy for you, and respect the standards and the boundaries that you set so you can accomplish your goals, that's a real friend. They don't hold nothing against you on that. Ghost mode doesn't mean you have to abandon everybody around you, but it means to spend more time with yourself than with others, and allowing yourself ample time to accomplish your goals. Now, this is not supposed to be an advertisement for ghost mode, so I have to apply it to myself. How do I apply that to myself? One thing I've never been great at is setting boundaries for myself. It's kind of hard to with how I grew up. I was always the one sacrificing my personal space and my boundaries so that my family can do what they gotta do so that they can live the way that they want to live. So my little siblings can have their own private space. And with that, as I grew up, the concept of boundaries to me just didn't exist. I mean, of course I knew what boundaries were, but it got hard to set those boundaries. Even in my past relationship, at the beginning, the main issue was boundaries. On my side specifically. And that's something I realized far after it ended. And this is not a knock to her, but simply people are going to do what you give them room to do. She was doing things that she thought was right, and she didn't necessarily find an issue with it. For me, it caused me problems, it caused me issues. I didn't like it necessarily. But at the end of the day, I didn't set and establish those boundaries beforehand. It's my first relationship. You know, you just got to chalk it up to the game at the end of the day. But through that experience, I realized boundaries are very important. So I said, people are only going to do what you give them room to do. If you set a hard set boundary, this is not going to change. I will not be changing for any situation, any circumstance whatsoever. This is how it is with me. This is how it's going to be. And I know that sounds harsh, but sometimes you have to be that way because people don't know how to operate outside of boundaries. Or people don't know how to operate when boundaries are not set. So in reality, the way they're going to act, they're just going to do whatever they want, no matter if it's right or wrong. And as soon as you bring it up as a problem, the first thought there's going to be is, well, you let me do it. And I know it feels like it's common sense not to do wrong by somebody, but common sense ain't so common, as they say. So number one for me, that would be setting boundaries. Number two is being okay in silence. That's something I'm pretty decent at. When I'm by myself, I don't have an issue being by myself. As I said, I enjoy it. But being okay in silence also means not being on your phone all the time. You don't always have to have a video on. You don't always have to be doing something. Sometimes it's okay just to sit there, breathe in fresh air, do absolutely nothing. Because how else are you going to deal with your feelings, your trauma, your pain, your experiences, and recall those things properly and go over them so you can use your past to benefit your future? How are you going to do all of that when you never give yourself time to think? And silence is the best way to think, because there's nothing distracting you from focusing on what you need to focus on. So, the second thing I'm pretty decent on. And the third thing is being okay with saying no. And I don't have to please everybody. That's something I've been working on a lot for these past few years. And I feel like I've gotten a lot better at it. But I don't have to do what other people want to do all the time. It's okay for me to just do what I want to do. And I don't have to explain that to people. And that's the part that really gets confusing for some people. Or I can't even say confusing. Like, because you can visibly see your actions bothered somebody, you feel like you have to explain your actions. But did you do anything wrong? Is it wrong for you to do what you want to do? No, it's not. Is it wrong for you want to just chill out the room today? No, it's not. Is it wrong for you to go out to eat and you didn't invite anybody else? No. Why? Because it's your life. It's your experience. It's your reality. Your world. You can do whatever you want. Of course, with consequences, but you can do whatever you want, and it's okay. You don't have to explain why you're doing those things. And that's something that I have to get down. I tend to have this thing where I over-explain myself. One, because, as I said, I feel the need I need to explain myself to people because I can see that they're bothered by the actions that I took. And B, which is kind of going into our next point here, intentionality. I feel like I don't articulate myself properly sometimes. And it has nothing to do with how well I actually got my thoughts out of my head. But it's more specifically in the confidence I have in myself and in what I'm saying. I can believe in what I'm saying wholeheartedly, but I don't feel the best in bringing those thoughts to life, basically. Which is why we're here today. Anyways, intentionality. This is where it all started for me last week. By definition, intentionality is the fact of being deliberate or purposive. The quality of mental states, thoughts, beliefs, desires, hopes that consist in being directed towards some object or state of affairs and or situation. At the beginning of last week, which would have been May 26th, I forgot what I was talking about, but I found myself, as I stated earlier, over explaining myself and stuttering, and I couldn't find the words I wanted to use, and it started to bother me a lot and frustrate me. One, because I know a lot of words and how they are properly used, but when I'm in the situation where I can use them, it seems like words are ever elusive. I'm like grasping at the air to figure out what I want to say. And two, it makes me feel dumb. I mean, I feel like nobody's gonna be like, yeah, I'm stupid, but I'm smart. I know what I'm actually talking about. I know what I want to say. So why am I not capable of saying it? And there was my frustration. And while thinking to myself, I realized that words are something I pay little attention to. What do I mean by that? A good example is listening to music. And the first thing I will catch on to is the beat. If I'm ever thinking of a song and someone's like, what song is that? I'm like, it's a song that goes like bop ba da bop bop. But I can never find the words whatsoever. The words are always so hard to grasp for me. And some people are simply people who are able to pick up on sounds or beats better, and then some people are able to pick up on words in about 2 seconds. They're like a little camera recorder or a tape recorder. But I found it to be a little bit deeper than that for me. This will get to the point of where I listen to a song about 9-10 times, and not a single time that I pick up on any more words than the first 3. And that's pretty bad, I'd say, because I could be addicted to the song, and each time I'm like, singing the wrong lyrics, just saying lyrics, and I just don't know the words, and it's just because I realize I don't pay attention to words that much. So, with that, I decided to do a little experiment, and again, this is where it all started for me. The experiment I decided to do, or the experiment that I decided to start, is if I decide to pay attention or intentionally pay attention to all the words around me, will I, be better or become better at articulating myself? The reason why these thoughts kind of connected for me is if I pay attention to how other people articulate their words, see how they connect their sentences, build their bridges, the word bridges or whatever, maybe that'll help me too. And this is, of course, outside of practicing speaking, but this is a concept I'm trying to apply all around my life. Intentionality, I mean. So, I'm not trying to suck the fun out of life with trying to be intentional with every single thing. But I'm coming to realize that is life truly worth it if you're not being intentional with all your actions? Like, for instance, I love basketball. And anybody that's into any type of sports, or honestly anything into which you can get into the flow state, and you just start doing things that don't make no sense. You're like, my body has never moved like this before, but hey, it worked. And then you try to do that thing outside of when you're in the flow state and it never works. like, whenever you try to do those things outside of the flow state, it just never seems to work. And I feel like while the flow state, when you review what just happened, I feel like that's a very exciting moment for you because you just did something that you didn't know you can do. But not being able to understand how you were able to do that and then apply it, or even if you do understand it, then being able to apply that to be able to do it again, I feel like that's what kind of kills the joy in it. And that's intentionality right there. Being able to understand how to do something, doing it, perfecting it, repeating it. I want to be intentional on my things I'm doing because that seems like, or I'm realizing that's where the fun is. When you put in that effort and your efforts are realized, your efforts are actualized, you're accomplishing the thing that you've been grinding so hard to accomplish. That's where the joy in life comes from. And I don't know, I'm tired of living life accidental. Living accidental is what takes the joy out of life. It's when you start living with intention, that's when life becomes worth living. And so I'm trying to be intentional with everything that I'm doing, seeing how that improves. I don't know, my happiness improves, my joy, my memory, the way my brain works, hoping that helps me rewire how I do things. And like, I don't know, I feel like applying intention to the things that you do, I feel like that could help you find the purpose to life, you know? Anyways, I thank y'all for joining me for episode 1. So the videos that I referenced, or that videos that were my references for this episode that I'm doing, I will put in the description. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and I'll leave y'all with this quote: work hard in silence, let success make the noise. Thank y'all for taking the trip with us. Y'all stay blessed.